here we are, just a few days away from Super Bowl 58, where the Chiefs will battle it out with the 49ers. And although this is an amazing time for both Chiefs and Niners fan, all of it has really brought out all of the haters. I would say that like 95% of the country is rooting for San Francisco, and that's okay. Because with all of this hate, with memes and shit talk, it means that KC has finally reached dynasty status. To all of those haters, I say this: suck it. We're going to the Super Bowl. Let's win 58 for 58. We are the Indiana Chiefs fans, and joining me tonight is three-time podcasting favorite. It is the one, the only Chico Noise. What's up, big dog?
What's up? I was gonna say, everybody, welcome the 2024 New England Patriots.
Let me start off with this tonight. I get it. I understand. You guys are all like pissed off and jealous as the media circus starts to run in Las Vegas, and Kansas City comes out and just gets booed. Uh, Travis Kelsey was like, "Bring on the booze. I don't care."
You like the booze more than the
He,
cheers.
that's right. Absolutely. So with that being said, I ran into a guy that I work with who was actually a big Ravens fan today, and he pretty much lit me up. And it was quite humorous because, he was like, I was like, "Well, you ready to talk about it?" He's like, and right out of his mouth was like, "Those fucking zebras, god damn it, fucking everybody's for the Chiefs and blah 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 blah." And I just calmly looked at him and I said, "Really?" I said, "Do you want to talk about the Ravens offensive line holding almost every play against the KC defense that was a no call? Or do you want to talk about the two incidents where the guys were getting by and the Ravens guys tripped them,
Yeah, I saw the Chris
blatantly,
Jones one.
blatantly stuck their foot out and tripped them?" "Well, how do you fucking not call that as a pass interference on that interception?" I said, "You mean the one where Lamar Jackson threw it into triple coverage and then he threw it short? Are you talking about that interception?"
Yeah,
"The fucking god," and then he walked away.
it's one of those two-way street things, right? It happens to us, and we have the same feeling. Like it's the refs, it's this and then this and this and this. And I mean, I 100% get where everybody's coming from. The refs were terrible. They missed so many holding calls.
Absolutely.
They didn't call the tripping. There were multiple tripping calls.
Right.
Colton mentioned in the call guys this week, they didn't call a lot of the unsportsmanlike and the taunting in the first, quarter and a half. But then towards the end of the game, they started calling it more and more. And his thought process there was if it's not a call in the first quarter, it shouldn't be a call in the fourth quarter, which makes sense. But I think a lot of those guys I just don't know if they're just not good at their jobs or they're just not paying close enough attention to the whole field at one time. How many refs are on the field? Seven? Something like
Seven
that.
or eight. Yeah, I don't even know exactly number,
How is
but
it
I think
that
it is seven.
out of seven referees on the field that are trained to call these things, and I know we hate flags. I hate flags. I don't want to see a flag come out. I want to watch football, right? It's part of football, but it's the most annoying part of football.
Absolutely.
Time it's there for a reason, and a lot of those guys just are not doing what they should be doing. And then in the moments when they do throw a flag, it's those big, obvious ones. Because, I mean, in a big pileup, who's going to see Chris Jones get tripped? I mean, that
Right.
back judge should see it. None
Well,
of the other guys will see it, but
yeah, the one that they really showed over and over again. I mean, the guy was wide out there, throwing his foot out. But
mhm.
okay, so listen, you know, we are just as guilty. I mean, of being like, oh, the damn refs gave us, took away the game or whatever. Um, we talked about it with Tony's offside. I mean, Tony was offside.
Hmm.
I mean, as much as that hurts, as much as it hurts, he was offsides. Uh, it was a well called,
It was.
it was a well placed flag. In this Ravens game, there was hardly any flags thrown whatsoever. I mean, what did they have? I mean, less than 10, I think. I
It
mean,
wasn't very many.
I'd have to go back and actually look at the exact stats, but you and me were together and watched the game. We're yelling at the TV. Where's the holding call on that? That's blatant. That's blah blah blah. But I think at some point it became just let these two teams play, and that's what they did. They just let them play. Were there some missed calls? Yes. Was there a pass interference that Kansas City should have had called on them? Not in that triple coverage one, but there, like Phil was talking, there might have been one earlier in the game. Okay, so one or two calls went our way, and one or two calls didn't go our way. It is
Exactly.
what it is. But in the end, in the end of that game, I didn't feel like that the refs called a bad game. I thought they just kind of let them play and let them kind of just battle it out. Let them do it. These are two high-powered offenses and two high-powered defenses. Let them play, and that's what they did. Now, what do they do in the Super Bowl? Man, this fucking referee corps is so jumbled up because they take bits and pieces from a bunch of different,
Yeah, and
a
they're not the guys that
bunch.
work together all year, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But um, to be 100% honest, and this is not coming as a Chiefs fan, this is coming as a football fan. The Ravens shot themselves in the foot in that game. They didn't lean heavy on what got them to where they were to begin with, and that's Lamar's legs.
And say their pocket quarterback.
So instead of pointing the blame at the refs giving the game to Kansas City, point the finger at your head coach who decided that Lamar needs to stay in the pocket and throw the ball. I've always said I don't think Lamar is a great quarterback. I mean, I think he's a knowledgeable quarterback, but when it comes to throwing the deep ball and being accurate, I mean, he gets lucky from time to time where they're right there where they're supposed to be and they look like he knows what he's doing. But the other half of the time, those balls are falling short or way overhead, or, I just don't think he's the mechanical quarterback that everybody wants him to be. And, you know, if he's MVP this year, that's great. I don't have a problem with that. Is Pat Mahomes MVP status caliber this year? Absolutely not. This is why I said going into the playoffs, I really thought we won and done. Watching the season that Kansas City had and the way our offense played, you got to be able to score points. And if you're going to the red zone 4, 5, 6 times a game and coming away with three, it's not going to win you games, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a good thing Bucker can make a field goal.
And there's another example of the fans talking smack. Last year everybody wanted to fire Bucker. Everybody wanted him out of there. I mean, the guy gets hurt on opening day in a shit field in Arizona, and he's struggling to try to get back and be the great kicker that he is. And he's struggling. He's having issues. I don't know if he was in pain or whatever the deal is, but he's definitely proved coming back this year that he's a force to be reckoned with, and he should be in the talks as one of the top kickers in the NFL ever. So,
Hmm. Oh yeah. I 100% agree. Ravens definitely shot themselves in the foot, just like the Lions did. It
ah,
was it
yeah.
was all it was all coaching. It was all um it was them being in their heads from the beginning of that game that they were coming in to win and being super arrogant about it, and that getting them a couple calls that obviously should have never happened. If they just came in to play football, there would have never been taunting or unsportsmanlike calls.
Right.
And then I said it in my intro last week, that Snead was mad. He was mad that about that taunting call, and he went up and he punched that ball out of Flowers' arms. And I mean, that was really what held and secured our win. So,
Pretty much. Yep.
um, I mean, yeah, I just think it's funny, and I don't know any Ravens fans, luckily, or they would have got an earful on that Monday. But um,
Well, this was today. It was the first time I'd seen this guy and since the Ravens game,
mhm,
and I've always been a big supporter of supporting his team. When he wants to talk about it, let's talk about it. And this, that, and the other. How do you feel about this? I haven't been like your team sucks, my team's gonna win type thing. I've never been like that. But man, him come firing at me just was like, are you fucking serious? Your team stuck their dick in the turf and that was it. They looked, they looked like it. They laid down. They didn't do anything that they were supposed to do and what got them to that point. And then I can turn around and be like, well, Detroit did what they did to get to that point and it kind of screwed them also. So, I mean, Dan Campbell has been aggressive with that team all year
mhm,
long and he didn't play it any different in that game. But I think that's the maturity of a head coach coming
yeah.
into the National Football League.
Well, I mean, you're looking at a big playoff game where the points matter more now than they did during the regular season.
Right.
So if you get the opportunity to put up those points, you should really go for the easier points and not risk turning the ball over on downs, which is huge mistake. I mean, you'd think on a 4th and 1, 4th and 3, you'd be able to just jam it up the middle and get your first down.
Right.
But some of these defenses, man, they're too
San Francisco,
good.
yeah, San Francisco's defense to be reckoned with. I mean, they've got some great players on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
So,
So watching, I don't know. To me, it's kind of bittersweet with the Lions, because I think the Lions were good enough to come in and play us really well. And um but at the same, so yeah, it kind of that kind of goes both ways, because they're so good. I'm glad they lost, but at the same time they're so good. I wanted them to go all the way. And I don't know. I was rooting for them because the family up in Michigan roots for them, and
right.
they definitely did that all to themselves.
Mm. I was rooting for them because once again, we all love an underdog and they're an underdog.
Mhm.
They deserve to get where they got. I mean, they worked hard, they put the pieces together, they have some amazing players, um, and they deserved it. And I would have loved to for them to get to the Super Bowl. And to be honest, we could have lost to them in the Super Bowl, and I'd have been just fine with that. I mean, I'd have been like, nope, they deserve it. Let's let Detroit celebrate.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be upset if we lose to the Niners, but I'm also not gonna be overly upset.
Yeah,
We've been to 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls. We played really well. This year we did not play great. So I mean, our playoff run's been great, but Purdy is, for how young he is, he's just good. And he has
he
a
is.
lot of great players. And it's one of those you can see going both ways. And obviously, anytime I think about this game, I'm thinking we could really pull this off.
Oh,
And
I honestly believe that we will pull this off. I think if you match it up, and the call guys did it this week on Monday night on Monday's podcast. Um, you guys kind of went through quarterback against quarterback, defensive against defensive line against front seven versus front seven, secondary versus secondary. And I mean, I don't think I would disagree with some of Colton's opinions on the differential between the two. Um, I think Mahomes is a better quarterback than Purdy. I think Purdy's good.
Mahomes has the
Um,
experience in the
e-
playoffs. Mahomes has
exactly.
experience in the Super Bowl.
The only one that I might have
That's
gotten
yeah.
into. Which one do you think I'm talking
It's
about?
Kelsey and Kittle. I mean, that's why I know his thoughts on Kelsey. I know he does not like Kelsey. I know he doesn't like his attitude, how he is as a player. But man, that dude off the field is probably one of the most humble people around. I mean, just the way he talks, and I mean, I was watching some of the interviews he did for opening night, and that little Jeremiah kid, the 11-year-old. I don't know if you've ever
I missed
seen
that.
him. He's from Vegas. He's NFL Network does this for him. He can go out on the field and he interviews players, and so he interviewed Kittle and he interviewed Mahomes and Kelsey, and I'm sure he did Purdy, but he was he goes up to Kelsey and he goes, Kelsey's talking to him and he's like, you talk like a, or he says something about the way he uses his words, and he's like, man, you're just a really smart kid, and he's talking to him, and the kid's a really good interviewer, and he goes up there and he does all that stuff, but just the way he was talking to him was great. And it's like, this is probably how this guy is most of the time. He just gets out on the field and he gets energized and he's there to crack some skulls, and
Yeah. Yeah, he gets fired up and he's got a short fuse when he's on the field. He lets things kind of bother him maybe a little bit too much. But that's a competitive nature. You want to talk about competitive nature. I mean, your
Colton.
co-host on the call guys is one of the most competitive guys that I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah.
What It doesn't matter if you're on the basketball court, if you're playing ping pong, or you're doing a podcast with him. He is 100% competitive.
So you're saying
And
Colton is Travis Kelsey?
I am saying that he doesn't like Kelsey because he is Kelsey. You know what I'm saying?
I
He's
see.
got that competitive nature and he doesn't like to lose and he gets fired up. And of course, he's a ginger anyway. So when he gets fired up, he gets red.
You should try playing Mario Kart with him. Because when Colton goes silent when you're playing Mario Kart with him, you know that he's losing or he has lost a race. Mario Party's the same way. He doesn't get a star or the star moves and he's almost to it, man. It's like the end of the world has happened.
I'll tell you what, buddy, you can play Mario Kart with me anytime and you're almost guaranteed to win. So there you go. I
It's
am
just,
horrible at it, but Um, uh, he compared Kelsey to Kittle, and he kind of leaned towards the Kittle side with a couple different references, but I can't remember exactly what they were. I was going to write them down and I forgot.
the big one was the fact that Kelsey is not as much a blocking tight end as Kittle
Right,
is, and Kittle says in all the time is that he is there to get McCaffrey yards on a play where he's not running a route. He is there to block whoever is right downfield from him, and he's gonna move him as far as he can until
right on.
McCaffrey gets his lane. Um,
Oh,
Kelsey is a receiving tight end. He will chip block you and then run his route. And most of the plays we run are passing plays. So
right.
I mean,
Yeah, and that's definitely something he needs to take in consideration on that because Andy Reid is not a running head coach. He hasn't been until the last half of this season when he really gave the ball to Pacheco and started doing more of that style of coaching. My thing is that you want to do uh Travis Kelsey will be the first to step up and tell you he's not a blocking tight end.
mhm.
That has never been his repertoire. And if you play it with the way Andy Reid has his offense set up, he doesn't need to be a blocking tight end. But you're talking about a guy who's had 7 consecutive 1,000 yard seasons,
Wins
and
this season.
Colton, he has 2 Super Bowl rings, with this being his fourth appearance in the last 5 years. Now, I am not disrespecting George Kittle whatsoever. I think that dude is amazing. I think
Hmm.
he's an amazing tight end. He is definitely an amazing person off of the field. If you've ever watched any of the, some of the community service stuff that he does and the stuff for the kids that he does, he's great. I mean, I am not picking on him whatsoever, but he doesn't have a Super Bowl ring, and I don't give a flying shit how good you are on the field, Dan Marino. If you ain't got a ring, your legacy falls short.
Yeah.
This is what I was thinking about when I was listening to the call, guys. I'm like, you know, you can be great. You can hold records. You can do all kinds of stuff. But if you ain't got a ring in the end, that's the one thing that defines you as an NFL player. And the first person that came to my mind was Dan Marino. Dan Marino was a great quarterback. He held all the records for a long time. He beat the Joe Montanas, the John Elways, all those great quarterbacks from back in the day. Marino has, wins on all of them, but he does not have a ring. And until Kittle puts one on his finger, which is possible this weekend,
Hmm.
you're going to be defined on whether or not you got that jewelry or not.
Yeah, and I keep seeing all this stuff about Mahomes and him being defined as the GOAT, right? And that's the big thing is that if he wins the Super Bowl, is he in the running to become the quote unquote GOAT of the NFL and take Tom Brady's place? Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowl rings. Tom Brady got them all when he was got 3 of them when he was young, got a bunch more, later in his career, but um over these last, you know, how many years has Mahomes been in the NFL? 6.
Yeah, I
This is
think
his
so.
sixth
In this
year.
6 year.
Over that time, he's going to his 4th Super Bowl.
Hmm.
Brady, I think also went to it was either 3 or 4 in that time period in his first 7 years. So I mean, you watch these guys and you're saying like Mahomes could be the GOAT soon, but Brady got his rings faster. Brady was able to do more in his late career. So there's a lot to look at with Mahomes in that whole situation. You can't I don't know if you can give him the GOAT title now if it comes later in his career when he's surpassed everything Tom Brady's done. I mean,
Okay, so I think I heard them talking on Arrowhead Addict that if Mahomes gets this ring, if he gets this win, then he will have gotten 3 rings like a year before Brady, or as far as so many years, 7 years in the league or 6 years in the league to have 3 rings or whatever would be like a year or two ahead of Brady and what he got. Don't quote me on that. I mean, I'd have to go back and listen to all that again. But we need to stop with Patrick Mahomes being the GOAT because until he puts a 7th ring on his finger and
that's
holds the
where I was going with
record
that.
and holds, yeah, I know that's what you were doing. Uh, and holds, every single damn record and plays until he's 45 years old. I think the GOAT is going to be Tom Brady for a long, long time. And it needs to be. The man accomplished amazing things. And I think if we need to stop with the GOAT talk for Mahomes, yeah, he's been great. Absolutely in his first 6 years of being in the league. You said it, you know, 4 Super Bowl appearances out of the last 5. Out of the last his entire career as a starter in the NFL, he's been to the AFC Championship game every year.
Yep.
But until he puts that 7th ring on his finger, there's no way to take away GOAT status from Tom Brady and give it to Mahomes.
Yeah, I
Now,
think
I'm
I
not.
think it's I think it's you're just right on the money because I think there's it's stats and rings. Yeah, let's go stats and rings. I think those are the 2 main things, and I think he's beat a lot of Brady's stats in the early years,
Mhm.
but it's the rings that are the problem.
It is
And like you
absolutely.
said, 7 rings when Mahomes puts on his 7th ring and he's surpassed every quarterback's stats because that's what's going to happen. He's on a kind of a downward slope right now, but Brady did the same thing. Brady played great for so many years, and then his stats kind of trailed off, and then right back up when he started getting better weapons and things changed in New England, and
Right.
so I mean that's yeah, I agree with you. I think it's the 7 rings once he puts on that fills his whole hand, fills both of his hands with rings. He's gonna look like he plays for the Steelers.
Yeah. And I hope that he takes 7 rings in Kansas City.
Seven
That
rings in
is,
10 years.
I mean, that would be the dream. But it's not gonna happen. Even Brady didn't do it in 10 years.
No,
I mean, I think they said he had like a decade slump in there where
there was a big
he
slump. Yeah,
yeah, he didn't go back to the Super Bowl, then goes back and wins a shit ton more. Like I said, I love Patrick Mahomes. I think he's an amazing quarterback, and I think we are extremely lucky to have him in Kansas City. He's done great things with the team that he's been given. We talk about we talk about Kansas City having a down season, but we're still 11-6. Holy shit. 11-6 is a down season. I remember when 11-6, we were fucking thrilled beyond words because we
yeah.
were finally going to the playoffs. So, of course it wasn't 11-6. It would have been 11-5 or whatever the
Been
case may
11-5 or like
be. Yeah.
10-6 or yeah, ten and
Yeah.
six, and we made it to a wild card and lost.
Yeah. We got getting beaten by the fucking Colts, but
Yeah, but no, the 11-6, 3 playoff wins, going to Super Bowl.
hmm
I mean, that's an average season with a amazing playoff run.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
and it's you can't complain about it.
No, like I said, win or lose this Sunday. I mean, you cannot complain about this season. It's not obviously if you don't win the Super Bowl, it's kind of a quote
That's a
unquote lost
bummer.
season. But yeah, but you can't complain about it because we did have what we thought was a bad year where we just skated by in some games. Winning by 3 or
Fucker.
hell, we uh we lost to the Lions by 1. By 1. Everybody's like, "Oh, well, the Lions beat you," but they only beat us by 1,
Mhm.
and that was because we couldn't catch passes. And that's the downside to this season is the receivers weren't as good. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's been an interesting year. I'm excited for this Sunday's game. I'm super excited for the Super Bowl. I will be rooting my ass off for my Chiefs, which I know you will be too. We will be screaming at the projector screen. There's no doubt in my
Yeah, I'm
mind,
gonna have
but
to get us some more foam footballs so we can just throw them at the refs. Um,
we're gonna need a lot of them.
you had mentioned earlier at the start of this, Kelsey getting booed during his thing at opening night,
Yeah,
and as I'm watching that, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, they're in Las Vegas, Nevada.
yeah.
San
Wonder,
Francisco is 4 or 5 hours away.
yep,
How many people that live out in that area that probably aren't Raiders fans because
right,
the Raiders moved from Oakland
right,
to Vegas. So you have a lot of people in Vegas that are 49ers fans.
yep.
That is why that place was packed full of Niners fans. And
Ab-
of course, they're not going to cheer for the Chiefs when they're up there doing their interviews and talking to these guys, which, oh, by the way, that was the opening. That guy, the announcer, that and he's
Oh,
like
really?
screaming at the top of his lungs. Sarah's like, "Can you mute that?" It was it was like the wrestling announcers when they come out and they're chanting everybody's names and stuff, but absolutely terrible. Um,
What station was that on? Because I looked for it the other night and I couldn't find it.
it was on NFL Network.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh man, I looked and it wasn't there, so I must have missed it. Because Phil ended up, yeah. If you notice, Phil's not with us tonight. We
What?
weren't sure whether he was going to be here or not, but um, he's dealing with some family stuff, so we weren't sure. But he had ended up texting me or and whatever and said, "Hey, they're interviewing Karlopis. because I thought you might be interested. And I went looking for it and I couldn't find it. So I'm hoping that I can find it on the web somewhere. I'm sure I
Oh,
can.
there's reels and highlights and stuff.
Yeah.
YouTube has a lot of the interviews and stuff. So
Okay. I'll have to go on YouTube here after a while and take a look because I'd love to see the Karlaftis interview. I think
I'm pretty sure it was on NFL Network, but let me make sure.
I'm trying to remember what was on there when I flipped it over. It wasn't oh, I think that maybe they were talking to Chris Jones. Maybe it was on there and they were talking to Chris Jones at that time. I don't know, but I'm more interested in the Karlaftis one, but I know that little kid you're talking about. I remember seeing him do some other stuff, but
Yeah, he's done quite a bit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was
NFL
NFL
Network,
Network.
it has to be. But there you go. I'll go back and check it out on YouTube and find it on there, I'm sure. Um, yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it on the head. I mean, if there's not Raiders fans there, then you know it's San Francisco fans
Yeah.
or possibly Rams fans, just anybody who's
Mhm.
against Kansas City. So,
And
uh
how many St. Louis Rams fans are out in Vegas, you know? I mean, that just doesn't seem likely to me that there were a lot of fans around the California and Nevada area that were Rams fans before they moved out there.
right.
So I don't know. It's just San Francisco's been out there for a long time. You'd think a lot of those people would probably be
Absolutely.
Niners fans.
Absolutely. And Niners fans has a loyal fan base, and I
They
respect
do.
them for that. I mean, I don't think I've ever met a Niners fan that wasn't polite and fun to talk to about football, and that's what makes it great. So I don't know, man. This weekend's gonna be interesting. I'm excited. Man, let's go get the dub. Let's win 58 for 58, baby.
DT.
Yeah. Now over this last weekend, it was the Pro Bowl. And I know Chico. I want to jump on board here and say I actually enjoyed the Pro Bowl. And here's why, because oh yeah, look, we got a commercial on my white screen, which I was hoping not to have, but um I have got to get a ring light in here for this.
No, it looks kind of cool when it's dark like that. You should keep it that way. The red
Uh
lighting in the back.
the red lighting. I think that if wait, I can't pause. Can I? Yeah, let me just leave it like that and see what we got. So listen, man, let me jump on here, and I know this is going to be really not a well liked statement, but I enjoyed the Pro Bowl, and I enjoyed the Pro Bowl because um not only it was flag football, but it
Hmm.
was these guys out there having fun. They're smiling, they're running. It's a short field. I think it's what is it? Maybe
Probably 50.
I think it's 50 yards. It's a 50-yard field. They have their own set of rules, for flag football, obviously. Um, but those guys were out there having a good time, and it's fun for me to see teammates from other teams out there interacting with their counterparts. So you have your um, Jamar Chase with your, I'm trying to think who else was on there on the AFC side of the wide receivers, just out there, cheering on these guys and having fun. Well, Tyreek would have been one of them on
Yep.
that side. So, those guys just out there having fun, doing their thing, playing a little flag football, not worrying about really getting hurt, because you don't really get hurt in flag football.
Not supposed to.
Not supposed to. And then they did in between quarters of the flag football game, they had um, other activities. So to help give points to the NFC or the AFC. So they had the skid move where the players had to take off like 3,000 pounds worth of weights and then pull a skid across the line,
Yeah.
or they did the best catch, or acrobatic catch, or they had the man, I'm sounding like a fucking tool right now, but the maze, the gauntlet run where
Hmm.
they had all the players doing different things. And the NFC dominated all of those. I mean, AFC, I don't think won a single one that I watched. We were just like a half step behind them the entire way. But it was just so much fun to watch those guys out there
Just having
just
fun.
having fun, chopping it up with each other and so on and so forth. And I enjoyed it. The AFC lost, and in traditional aspects, when the AFC loses the Pro Bowl, they win the Super Bowl. So, I mean, that's always kind of been a thing for as long as I've watched football. It's always kind of gone that way. So, the NFC did pull it out. Eli Manning coaching the NFC team, rubbing it in Peyton's face that he has won now 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
It was
Um,
quite enjoyable.
the Pro Bowl games that they do, I don't know if it's the night before or where they do all the almost like a pump pass what is
Punt
that,
pass
pump
kick,
pass kick kind of thing. But
punt
you,
pass.
I, I don't remember. I think it is pump pass and kick. I don't really remember.
Isn't
But
punt and kick the same thing?
yeah, you think so. But no, so the like they have like the throwing stuff where they have the targets and you had
Right.
Baker and CJ Stroud and um Jalen Hurts and I don't remember who the other quarterback was, but they had four quarterbacks going up against each other, and I think it was over the full time that they eliminated quarterbacks as they went. But you have moving targets, and they're trying to rack up points, and then they have a gold ball at the end where they're trying to throw it into a 10-point bucket that's 50 yards away.
Right.
That was fun to watch because these skilled quarterbacks couldn't hit a moving target that was 5 yards away from them. And you're seeing these guys a little bit more, like it makes you understand that even though they're trained and they've practiced their entire lives to do this kind of thing, that they're not perfect all the time. And
Right.
you see, I mean, some of those targets were 40 yards away in the air going across the top, and they'd hit those dead on, but they couldn't hit the 1 point target that was 5 feet away from them. So it's like it represents it really well. And some of them were hitting there was one target that so many balls in, they would get another gold ball and it would go flying across the field like full speed and they'd have to
Oh
try to
yeah.
hit it. Some of them
Oh,
nailed it. Some of them nailed it. It was fun to watch. Um, but I think Baker actually won all that.
my one takeaway from watching those guys walk out on the field is, man, Baker Mayfield's got like a dad bod. He's not like he he walked out there and I'm like, he's a chunky little shit, isn't he? Oh, I think we were
Yeah.
talking about Mahomes. Somebody had a picture of Mahomes shirtless, and they were like,
Locker room after last week's game. Yeah.
yeah. He's got a little bit of he's a little flabby in a couple spots, but
Because he
that's
drinks a
okay.
lot of beer.
He does drink a lot of beer. But yeah, I enjoyed the Pro Bowl this year. I mean, I watched it on, I think it was Saturday night or whatever it was, whenever it
Hmm.
was on. I watched it quite a little bit and I enjoyed it. Like I said, it was just fun to watch them all having a good time together. And,
Yeah, it's
there's no
enjoyable.
such thing as teams as far as, which AFC team you're on. It's just one big AFC team. So,
Yeah.
um, anything else, Gun? What you want to talk about the game this weekend?
Um, no, not really. I think it was fun to do what Colton chose to do for the call guys this week, where we, like you said, we went through and ranked each position and tried to decide which team would win. And we got down to coaching staffs, and that was the big one. That was like Andy Reid, Spags, those two guys working together. And just it's dynamic, and they do really well. Spags being one of the what I would say one of the best defensive coaches in the league and has one of the best defenses in the league. And then Andy Reid just being one of those veteran coaches that just knows how to play the game. We've had problems in the past years where he's had bad clock management, but I think he's fixed a lot of that. Knock on wood. Hopefully, this Super Bowl he's managed the clock well, and we get down to that fourth quarter, and if it's not a super close game, we find a way to run out the last 5 to 10 minutes of the
Right.
game, and
And
So
that's what we did. And that's what we did against the Ravens. We
yeah,
actually managed the clock.
yeah,
We managed what was going on. And it was brilliant. I mean, everybody's like, well, they didn't do anything in the second quarter. They did do something in the second quarter. They managed the game.
hmm,
We kept the ball away from them, and we may not have scored points, but we took off.
they didn't score points either.
Yeah, 20 minutes of the 30 minutes that they're out there. So,
Hmm.
um, I don't know. I don't know what this weekend's going to come to. Um, to say I am confident that the Chiefs can win this game is an understatement. I really feel that what they've proven by going to Highland Park and then off to Maryland to play. I can't even think what that stadium's name is, but to beat these
Doesn't
teams,
matter.
it's it's Arrowhead East now, boys and girls.
It's something about a bank, I'm sure.
Probably. Um, the way that they beat these teams, these high-powered offenses that we are not supposed to beat, we were supposed to go home. And now we're
Hmm.
gonna be the underdogs going in the Super Bowl, and that's fine. I don't doubt that we can win this game and we will come out with another Super Bowl ring.
As Nick Wright would say, never a doubt.
As Nick Wright would say, our worst team is better than your best team.
Yeah.
I
You know, he's
mean,
got that never a doubt tattooed on his arm.
never a doubt.
Never a doubt.
I
He got
love
it.
it.
He got it when I think last year when we won.
I do have breaking news though. Are you interested in this?
Yeah, let's hear it.
The Washington Commanders have fired offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy after one season with the team.
I heard that. Who was I talking about that with? Somebody we'd talked about it that they would probably just release him. Which, hey, Eric, come on back.
Listen,
Andy misses you.
yeah, why not? Come back. We'll drop Nagy back to quarterbacks coach or water boy, whatever his best
Pretty
fits.
Roots Waterboy.
And let's bring Bieniemy back. I mean,
I
I don't know.
mean,
Let's
he
get
doesn't
through.
need, I wouldn't think he would need to come begging or crawling. I think they would say, yeah. They let him go because they wanted to see him succeed. I feel like that was what it was. They're like,
Right.
yeah, take that job in Washington because the odds are you're going to be that head coach here soon. And then Washington just hoses him. So come on
Listen,
back to KC.
listen here. I'm gonna say this, and I may take hate. Uh, what is it? inchiefsfanspodcast at gmail.com. Go ahead and send the hate. But this is the stupidest fucking decision the Washington fucking Commanders could have ever fucking done. You guys went out and hired Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn as your head coach. Jesus, how fucking stupid are you out there in Washington? You had one of the greatest motherfucking coaches on the block who you could have went and hired, and you go fucking hire Dan Quinn and then turn around and fire Eric Bieniemy. Hey, good fucking luck with your first draft next year, boys,
Mm.
because that's where you're gonna be.
Dan Quinn come from um
Dan Quinn has come from everywhere. He has
yeah, literally.
failed everywhere he's fucking went. He's failed.
The Cowboys. Was Cowboys' last team, I
Was
think.
the offensive
Possibly.
coordinator out there?
Yeah, possibly. And look what the Cowboys did.
Failed.
Yeah.
But Dan Quinn wasn't Dan Quinn the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons at one
He was.
time?
Mhm.
Failed.
Looks like he might be Motor City Dan Campbell's older brother.
I know, right?
Yeah, they can go sit on that beach in Cancun together and drink daiquiris.
I am flabbergasted that they would let Eric Bieniemy go.
I don't get it.
I don't
Um,
get it at all. What I mean is it him? Is it Bieniemy? Is it something in his personality?
I wouldn't think so. It seems just like a nice teddy bear kind of guy.
He does well. I mean, but he's also a guy that has always been um, accountable. He always holds his
Mm.
team accountable, which is what I think we lacked in this year's season is in Kansas City. They didn't seem accountable. I mean, they always had each other's back, but personal players didn't hold themselves to a higher standard to go out and do what needed to be done. And I think that's the fall for Matt Nagy is that he's like, just be yourself. Just do you, whatever his saying is. And I don't think that's the way you need to coach. I think you need to go out there and make sure that your guys are being the best they can be. And that means pushing them to be the best they can be. And I don't think Matt Nagy has that in
So
his repertoire.
so just from just this little article I'm reading here, um, this is a quote from Dan Quinn says, "We won't work together here, but I wanted him to know I really respect the work he's done. Wish him the best." So I wonder if Dan being hired, he brought in Cliff Kingsbury to be the offensive
Absolutely.
coordinator and said, "I don't think Eric Bieniemy is the guy to be my offensive coordinator. I want him gone if you're going to hire me."
Oh, absolutely.
So that
Absolutely.
automatically gets Bieniemy kicked off the team, whether
Well,
that was through management or
hopefully he got all the money he was promised to go out there.
I hope so.
Yeah,
This is
when I read this today, I lost respect for them when they changed their name, when they
mhm.
folded to the pressures of the fucking snowflakes and that are out there that think that that was a um slanderous name, and they folded like a fucking house of cards and changed their name, and then they didn't even get a fucking cool name. They called themselves the Commanders.
No, we had some good ones for him too.
You know what I wanted? The Sentinels.
Sentinels.
Yes, the Washington Sentinels. And the only reason I want that, I don't think that's like a badass name. The Sentinels are not going to fucking put fear in your eyes when they walk on
No,
the field or anything.
but
But it's from,
um, the replacements.
there you go. It would
Then
have
that
been
would have been
perfect.
awesome. That would have been
Yeah.
awesome.
Apparently, the owners of the Washington football team doesn't go watch really cool movies
No,
with Gene Hackman and Keanu Reeves.
that's
Go
too.
watch the
They're
replacements.
yeah, they're too busy hiring terrible coaches.
Terrible head coaches. I think the replacements need to be on your wall behind you.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I think you're gonna have to go top 20.
Oh
You
gosh,
can't replace any of those. You just need to
I can fit 10 more posters up there easy.
I see where you could get at least 3 or 6 more.
I can get five there and five there.
Okay, 10 more. 10 more it is. Get busy. The replacements need to be on there. I
All
think
right,
Crusher.
Colton.
I think Crusher needs to be.
Yeah, Colton, Sarah. I'm gonna make a list. You better order me some posters.
I think Crusher needs to be on there.
Oh yeah, there's a photo of you on the cover.
Actually, it's not me. I'm not anywhere on the promo material.
No, yeah, I'm gonna have to think about my next 10.
Yeah. I think that needs to be a Call Guys episode. What is the next 10 to go on Chico's wall?
Hmm.
Hmm.
I have to think about that one. I've had this top 10 list since my freshman year of college.
I
That's
know
been
it's hard to break away from.
10 years this year. So,
Well, I can't really go on the Invisible. I don't know that I've actually seen the Invisible.
oh come on, it's one of the first movies to ever use a 30 Seconds to Mars song in it.
Is this the one where he's is it he's invisible and he's like half dead and can't be
Yeah,
seen? Okay, I
yeah,
have seen that.
yeah.
All right. Okay. So yeah, okay, I've seen every movie that's on your wall.
hmm
But I have to admit, Clerks is not that good.
I love Clerks. I love Clerks 2 just a little bit more than Clerks 1, but Clerks 1 is the original and it's yeah, Miramax game changer.
Miramax Game Changer. Airheads absolutely is one of the great ones. Bill and Ted, Rockstar, Goonies, Big, Knight's Tale, Back to the Future, and Beverly Hills Cop.
Yep.
It's a good top 10 list. I like to
No,
give you
I'm
shit
I'm
about
definitely
cards.
gonna do my top 20 now.
I think you should.
What's
I
inside? I
think you
mean,
should.
I got a lot of wall space here I need to fill up, so
Yep, absolutely. Get it done.
okay.
All right. Listen, guys, enjoy the Super Bowl this weekend. Make sure you get lots to eat and lots to drink, and get with your family. Enjoy with people that like the team that you like to root for. Um, make it a happy occasion, and just have fun with it. It's
If you
it's a football game, for Christ's sake. Just have fun with it.
if you have a 49ers fan or a Chiefs fan in your family and they start to rage and do something crazy, make sure you get on video because I'd love to see it.
Yeah, send it
There's
to
nothing better. There's nothing better than watching a fan just go rage mad and start
oh
breaking TVs and stuff.
oh inchiefsfanspodcast at gmail.com. Send us those
Mm,
videos.
do
We'd
it.
love to see them. We will be back one more episode this season as we wrap up season number 2. Um, so yeah, come on back next week. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl 58.
Win or lose, we'll be
Win
here.
or lose, we'll be here. So looking forward to it.
Sorry, I meant to say when we win, we'll be here.
When we win, Kansas City 58, winning 58 for 58, baby. I love that. So
Yep. DT.
absolutely one of the greatest, if not the greatest. Yeah. One of these days we're going to sit down and have a podcast just on who we'd like to see on a Kansas City team from all the old Kansas City players.
build a build a
Build the
Chiefs
super
team
team.
out of Chiefs players. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
like it.
can you imagine having Pacheco as our number 2 running back to Jamal Charles, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, Tony Gonzalez?
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 tight ends. Who would our third tight end be? Ah,
Ooh,
something to think about.
that'd be fun.
Who would your wide receivers be? I know Phil's vote would be Dwayne Bowe.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right, man. Let's get out of here. Thank you, guys. Thank you for a great season of Indiana Chiefs fans. Like I said, we'll be back for one more, but I want to thank you guys for listening. All those who listen every week. We so much appreciate you guys. And go check out the merch store. I got a new t-shirt up there that says Run Angry.
Run angry.
It's got our logo and it says Run Angry on it because that's the way we love it when Pacheco runs angry. But go check out goldenmojoent.com. There's all kinds of stuff on there you can look around at, and we would love if you wanted to help support Indiana Chiefs fans by getting a t-shirt. So, I think we have a hoodie on there. Yeah, look at that. Or get a new t-shirt. It just states Run Angry.
Run angry.
Run Angry. All right, guys, from our little slice of Chiefs Kingdom right here in the great state of Indiana, I just got one question for you, Chico. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
How about those Chiefs?
Cheers.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Indiana Chiefs Fans Podcast. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Podbean, any of your favorite podcast sites. Be sure to watch us on YouTube. Just search for the Indiana Chiefs Fans Podcast. Also, check us out on Facebook for any updates on the Chiefs and all of our weekly posts. You can find us at facebook.com/INChiefsFansPod. Finally, go check out our Golden Mojo Entertainment website at goldenmojoent.com. You can find information about your 3 favorite hosts and all the other podcasts in the Golden Mojo Entertainment family. Those podcasts include The Call Guys, Golden Image Podcast, The United States of Paranormal, The Golden 80s Podcast, The Murdnerds, and A Court of Books and Booze. Thank you for tuning in, and how about those Chiefs?